And good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marybeth, Nave, and you are still watching The Workplace. And of course, our special guest right now is the Managing Director of LHHDBM, which is again a global company that helps companies when they are already in the plan to let go of employees who've been working in the company for again a certain number of years already, and they are part of that transition period from the onset, from the very, very beginning. Not in the middle, not at the end, but from the planning stages, they are part of the company. So for those companies who are having certain concerns and you actually need help in knowing how to manage people, and you don't know how to let go of the people who've been so loyal and committed to the company, and you don't know how to do it, you know, there's that company, LHHDBM, that exists in the world today. So even if you are a local company or you are an internationally based company, they can help you out. So you know what? From the company perspective, that is side A, we will now go to the people perspective, which is side B. So you know what, we will ask again our very special guest today all the questions that I am receiving from all the viewers right now. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to The Workplace, Mr. Vicente Kilayko, or Binky.
Thank you, Marybeth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what, a lot of people have messaged me just now, and I saw through the list, we have people from Bacolod asking questions, Cagayan de Oro as well, and Davao. So I just had to shift through the questions really quickly. But my personal question is this. What would be your advice? You know, because you're not career consultants. You made that clear.
We are curriculum. We are not
But
counselors.
You're not counselors.
We are
and
career consultants.
you work with the company that engages you. But for example, employees of certain companies that do not engage you, can they still approach you for help?
Unfortunately, not. That's
There.
not in the. It's not in our purview to help individuals. We call that retail, and that's not allowed in our business. In the outplacement business, that's not allowed. Once you do that, we will lose our license if we do that. So we don't. But let me just say this much. Many of the principles we do in helping people find a job are in fact available on the net, on the web. A lot of them. And we can discuss parts of this if you want. No?
Right, right. And we have also people watching right now that they have been just recently let go, and they want to hear your advice, like what to do.
Okay.
So that's why I said we're very lucky to have Binky over here, because again, he's been doing this. He's an expert in this field, in this area. So if you're listening and your company's not, you know, engaging their services, and you're just wondering who can help out, well, Binky here will be giving us those career advices. So let's say now let's move on to the people side, side B. Okay, we have side A, company, side B, the people. A person that's just been let go, what are their options?
Okay. Let me say this much. What is job search? What is finding another job? You know, you really have to understand this. Finding another job is matching the needs of the company with your career assets or skills and competencies. When those two match, then you find a job. The problem, as we know, you know, you open up any classified ads, you open up right now job portals. There's so many jobs out there. How come they can't find people onto there?
Right.
In fact, the basic problem for many, including students, are finding what their career assets are. You see, the basic problem for many who lose a job, and I'll have to say this in Filipino, you know, you ask a person, what do you do? Or what job are you looking for? What's the standard answer?
Kahit ano.
Correct. Kahit ano pwede. I can do any job. Is it? Can you really do anything?
Can you do everything?
Can you do can you do everything? In fact, I think it's part of our maybe culture to say, if I say that I want to be let's say a cameraman, or you know, that might put me into one pigeonhole. Rather, I'll say I can do anything. In fact, the reverse happens. When people ask me, you won't get anything because people don't know who you are.
And what you can do.
Exactly. When people come to me and say, Binky, you know, is there a job for let's say, an accounting clerk? Or I'm looking for a job that is let's say, in the IT
industry.
Systems or stuff. When you're precise with that need, you tell me, or you I put that at the back of my mind, and in my own network, when somebody starts up, Binky, would you know whether there's a finance person that I can? Oh,
Can hire.
yeah, that person.
I met him before,
Yeah.
yes.
But if that person tells me,
Kahit ano
pwede, you're out of mind.
You're
And
out of the
that's-
database, the mental database.
And unfortunately, for many Filipinos, it's really kahit ano. You know, you ask. See, we didn't practice
We
this.
didn't practice this.
But I asked you the question, and what did you do? And I think you told me the last time when you were looking for a job. What did you do?
I just said any company with an opening, I'd love to do it.
Correct.
That
and
was my
nothing happened to you.
That's why nothing happened to me. Actually, when I met Binky in their booth, I mentioned, oh, you know what? That's why right now I help a lot of students really maximize or know how to write their resume properly and how to communicate during an interview, because I made all those mistakes as well.
Yeah. Let's step back again. See, the company is looking for a
match.
particular skill and competency. Here you are. If you are not able to identify those, you'll have a problem. But that's why the whole idea, part of the resume that we do when we do resume, and by the way, these are all, this training are all available, or write-ups on this are available on the net. You really have to be clear on what you can do. Then it matches. Then you can match. The tendency, the problem for many is they do the shotgun approach. I will send this to as many companies as possible. I will send this so that somewhere maybe I'll get that
The chance.
0.0001%
Right.
that's not going to work.
That mentality should be out the window.
For those without a job, the first thing you need to really be clear, what can you do? These are based on career assets. We call these career assets. These are based on some of the training that you've done. It's also based on your job experiences. Now, here's the thing, and this is a reality. I'm not going to skip this one. For some of us, the career asset that we've had may have been outdated or may be changing because there's so many things that are happening right now that you could fall behind in the skills and competencies. First, you must be aware that you're no longer in that. So awareness is one of those things. Don't just sit back and say, but if you're aware that you're not, then it's to you need to take the initiative to upgrade yourself to learn these things. You need to upgrade yourself. That's why learning is a continuing thing. Even for those people who are in jobs, you need to learn.
You need to upgrade.
You need to upgrade. You need to keep yourself updated with what's in, because companies will not hire you
If you're outdated.
there are very many misconceptions. One of them is if I know someone, I get hired.
Referral system.
Well, I'll tell you this much. You can get an interview if you know someone in the company. But to get hired,
Not.
that person is answerable to you as well, whether you have the skills and competencies. So you may get the interview, but you won't get hired. Because during the interview process, when they really start to look into whether you have the skills and competencies, you're not going to make it. These are the things that are happening for many, many people. It's a shotgun approach, and they think if you know someone,
You'll get a job.
you'll get a job.
But it's
I will tell you, the realities now is not that. Because companies have to be competitive. They need people who have the skills and competencies so they can remain competitive.
And who continue to develop and upgrade.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things. Even when you're in the job, even if you're secure in your job right now, you need to upgrade your skills and competencies, because the world is, who's your competitor?
Everybody
It's
else.
everyone
Right.
now. I remember with ASEAN now that's opening up 2015, you'll have more people now jockeying for those positions. Those are things that are happening in the world. Actually, even without the ASEAN
Even
free
social
market.
network right now.
Yeah.
The world just got smaller. We were able to now interconnect faster because even, with the blogs, with all of these online forums, I mean, sometimes hiring is not anymore face-to-face. It's
exactly.
online.
Well, one of the things, one of the phenomena now is work through the web. No?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if you've guested anybody who's worked with Odesk, for example.
Yes, Odesk.
Odesk is one of those. And if you go through it, there's a lot of jobs that are available there.
Like again, these some who are looking for the projects are internationally based, and they're looking for people who can do the job. All you have to do is really pass your resume online, and they just give you that card to
pass your resume. Well, pass your qualification. You
And then
go
there's
through
a test,
certain
yes.
tests and certain qualifications that are there. Jobs are available for people with the skills and competencies. That I am telling you. That's why, all these things about people not having jobs.
they just don't know how to look for opportunities.
Exactly. Or they do not really have, they take the easiest way.
Which is
I'll just take whatever course. Let's say
bahala na.
bahala, if as long as I graduate the easiest course, I'm okay. In fact, it's really, you need to address, it's a moving target. People entering college or university now, graduating in 4 or 5 years, you need to anticipate what are the jobs 4 or 5 years from now.
Because the course
Because
that
by the time you graduate, that may not,
be
if
the
you're in a
the needed course already in the industry.
like nursing, what happened to the nursing, profession, when people came in, by the time you graduate, there's no more opening. So in effect, you need to anticipate that. That's where, again, in PMAP, for example, there's a lot of discussions along that, because you need also the government to be able to help anticipate what are the needs of the future.
Not inform what's happening now,
What's
but anticipate.
Correct, yes. Because things change from, analog to digital. A lot of the skills do change. So you need to anticipate these things. You need to be aware. That's why I tell students, you should be reading a lot. In fact, one of the most critical decisions that are being made are not the people graduating in college, it's the people graduating in high school. And who makes those decisions for them?
Parents.
It's their parents. And parents think in terms of
Their
of
past.
their past, of their,
As the
bricks and
basis
yeah.
of the kid's future.
Correct.
Which is not supposed to be.
Yes. So a lot of these things that are happening right now have impact. It's the same with people who are on the workplace. You need to continually anticipate what's happening. Because if you don't, you'll be left behind and you're bound perhaps lose your business. By the way, there's no such thing now as job loyalty where people stay on their jobs from start to finish. I think you mentioned that. It no longer happens.
It used to be.
In the States, unfortunately, we have statistics. It's about a year and a half. So what happens within your lifetime? You probably work with 10 different companies. So if you're right now with 5 on your 5th company, don't worry. You're in the average. You might end up with 10 different companies.
Wow.
The young ones now are very mobile. There's no more loyalty.
And that's like the term that you use, talent mobility.
That's why
You
we,
keep on moving
as
forward.
LHHDBM, we talked about talent mobility because talents now move around. Now, what do companies need to do? They need to be able to tap onto these people who are moving. That's a challenge for many companies.
And I think also a challenge to the talents as well because they don't know where to move towards to.
Yeah.
And
This is a very wide topic to.
It is. So going back, we mentioned again for those who have just been recently retrenched, or you are in between jobs, or you feel like you're the next one to be let go. So what can you do? You mentioned already,
Okay.
find another
Find
job.
that when you find another job, as I said, make sure that you allow that thing to happen, that there's a match. Look at the classified ads or even the job sites. Look at the kinds of people that they're looking for. Okay, starting a business.
That's the second, start a business.
Start a business for us, for many here in Asia actually. And we have, as LHHDBM, we have statistics to show this. There's a higher propensity here in this part of the world for people to move into starting a business.
Even if you don't have a business degree, or
even
you've never...
if you don't, the other place in the world where there's also a high propensity to start a business is South America. But here is, starting a business is this. You lost a job, so sometimes what we hear is, magnenegosyo na lang ako.
Right.
I'll say it in Filipino again. Magnenegosyo na lang ako. what I tell these people, pag nenegosyo, hindi na lang.
Bakit?
It's a deliberate step when you make a decision to go into business. It's not a last effort. It's not the last step just because you can't find a job,
You'll
you
get
start
into
a
business.
It's not. Going into business is a deliberate effort on
Decision.
your part. What do you look for? What are the two things that you should be looking? One is, do you have the behavioral competency to go into business? Because if you are in the back end of the business, always facing the computer, you lose a job and say, I'll just go into business. Do you have what it takes to interact with people behaviorally? Do you want to be in a situation where you, because business is all about people.
And also being competitive as
Well,
well.
competitive, but people skills are important when you go into business.
Right.
And secondly, will the money that you will earn from that business, is that equal to or sufficient for you? Or equal to what you were earning in the last, before it's not, there's a very high level. I was just talking to someone from in the entrepreneur world, and they were saying, and this is in the SBA, the Small Business Administration in the U.S., it's as high as 90% of people who start a business fail within the first 5 years.
What went wrong?
There are many, and many of that is because they don't have what it takes to go into business. They don't have the
And
behavior.
to maintain it.
Yes. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, going to business is not for everyone. You just don't go into business because you've lost a job. In fact, oftentimes, we recommend, really look at yourself, and that's why when people come to us and say, I want to go into business, we help them evaluate themselves, whether you have what it takes to run a business. Because at the end of the day, many of those people who start a business, their best option is finding another job, actually. You are better off finding another job than going into business if you don't have what it takes to
get into business. And in fact, some of the people I know who really went into business, they were full-time employees first. And they tested out if the business would be a hit among the people, among their colleagues. And later on, they were balancing both their work and their business. And then later on, they computed, they did the math. And apparently, they were earning more in the business. And then that's when they decided to resign from the company. And now they're really, really happy.
That's the best approach. What you just said is the best approach to that, because it's you slide into going into business. You should get more people like that here, because that's the best way. Not because you lost a job and you start a business. That I do not recommend that, but rather what you just said is the best approach.
And you know what, Binky, actually, we only have a few minutes left, and I wasn't able even to read all the questions of our viewers. There was even one request before I even mentioned this. Can you please have Sir Binky again as a part 2, because we really have a lot of questions, and I think they're really demanding questions to be asked on air, on TV.
Sure.
So Binky said yes already. We will schedule that guesting, because we still have one part of to discuss, which is retiring.
Yep.
Because retiring doesn't necessarily mean leaving the workforce. It could actually mean leaving a job that you've been doing for the past 15 or 20 years of your life, and you just want to start something different. And again, we do have a Binky here who will tell us more about why he's even into this to this type of profession. We will talk more about that on our second guesting upon the highly in-demand requests by our viewers. But you know, before we go, Binky, do you have any messages you'd like to share to all of those who are watching us right now?
Yeah. Well, it's a very competitive world out there. It's competitive for the business. It's also competitive for the individual. What are the things that you need to do? You really need to continue to upgrade yourself. You need to make sure that you have the skills and competencies to move forward. Having said that, and we didn't touch on this actually, but there is a point in your life when you have to say, what is it that I really want to do? And that's where Marybeth already started talking about retirement. Maybe retirement is not coming home and just sitting down and not doing anything or reading a book. It's doing the things that you really want to do. And that perhaps may be another topic. But there you are. You need to be competitive, but at the same time, start looking into what you really want to do, because life is short. You'd be surprised. Before you know it, you're 50. Before you know it, you're 60.
Yes,
Okay.
Carpe Diem, seize the day. And with that, again, I'd like to thank Mr. Vicente Kilayko, Binky, as you all know, for being here, and then the Workplace and Global News Network. And for those of you who've been watching the Workplace, thank you so very much for supporting our shows. Again, Global News Network team, you guys are awesome. And I'd like to thank, of course, all my sponsors, David Salon, especially Greenbelt 1, Miss Laura Charlton. Thank you so much for all your support. El Manila, Miss Lulu and Jessica Tangan, and also Miss Michelle Lim. And all the companies, People Management Association of the Philippines, Jobs DB, all of you guys, again, Mr. Engelbert Kamasura, thank you guys so very much. This is Marybeth, Nave. When we return, we'll have a part 2 of this guesting, of Binky's guesting. So stay tuned, and you know what? Keep upgrading.
Thank you. Yeah.